What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I am just on Facebook, and sometimes I get a little bit of a itch to just go on Marketplace and see what's available in terms of cars, just scrolling through them. You know how it is. When you were younger, you'd grab an auto trader, just start flipping through it. You weren't going to buy anything. You may have been like me. You didn't have any money. The pictures were this big, maybe not even that big, and totally pixelated like newspaper print, and yet I still loved them. I could see the glossy paint through those little pixelated pictures. I loved it. But that's what we do, window shopping. It's like girls looking through outfits and jewelry and stuff, thinking of buy it, right? Anyway, listen, I found this one and I thought it was interesting and I had to share it with you because yes, it's expensive, but it's not expensive. I don't know. I'll get to it. First of all, I love the old Jaguars, the Jaguars, as my father would say. 1974, this would have been a Series 1, I think, actually. And I found this one. It's in Lapeer, Michigan, which is actually not too far from where I grew up, outside Flint. And we'd go up. There are like campgrounds up in Lapeer. I'd go up there. But this is 74, so I think it's a Series 1. And then the Series 2, and maybe the Series 2 was right around here, 73, 74. I can't remember exactly. And then the Series 3 was like 80 to 84, something like that. But anyway, I love these Jaguars, and the XJ6s, the XXL really, I thought were just beautiful cars, criminally underrated. And this one I pulled up because I was like, who's selling a 74 Jaguar XJ for 38 grand? Because that is about 10 times as much as these cars go for, which makes them great cars in terms of visual value and punch, but not really great values because these cars will do nothing but suck money out of your wallet. But this one was interesting, driven 8,700 miles, but it has totally been hot rodded, not like just Restomod where they kept the design and then just put modern mechanicals underneath, which is a brilliant way to go. But this car has undergone virtually everything, stem to stern. First of all, 350 horsepower with automatic transmission. So it's been switched over here to a Chevy, Jim Bailey. I don't think this is spelled right. And over $100,000 invested. I'll just show you the pictures because I'll be honest, it's totally legit, I'm sure. You can see side pipe here, which is cool. Now, this may not be your thing. And first of all, if you love classic cars and you're like anyone who does anything that's not original to a classic car, this is going to trigger you to all hell and back because there's nothing about this car that looks like the original. First of all, it's got this cool gray paint. The wheels here look like they are off a later Jaguar Coupe convertible, but you can just see here, nothing about this is right. This would have been a chrome bumper here. It's like the later 2000 Jaguar XJ bumper. The little chrome buckets around the headlights are gone. The grille looks like a Series 3 grille here. Most of this looks about right. But the big thing here is the windshield has just been chopped. And it even says, I don't know how many inches, 3 inches. 3 inches is a lot. 3 inches is a lot, people. Don't let them tell you different. My God, don't let them tell you different. Chopped a lot, so it definitely looks low. It's interesting that this is body colored up here, and then you can see the exposed muffler there. I probably would have done something like black all the way down there just to make it a little more subtle, but I'll tell you, I love it. And then again, 74. So these lights did not come on until 1980. I get why they do this because the Series 1, Series 2 tail lights had the brake and then the running light in one piece here. And then a piece below it, which I think was a turn signal. And then the backup reverse light up here on the trunk lid. So the wiring is a mess. There's 3 different lights. And so going to these lights, as opposed to what are called the tombstone lights, which I actually think were so much better looking, but going to these later lights makes it so much easier because everything is in one housing and then you can just run the wiring through here as opposed to up also through the trunk lid. Again, this bumper looks like a later Jag, but you've got the 2 gas fillers there. But as I can tell here, obviously like some VDO gauges, it looks like the gas filler has been moved to the trunk. So you do that inside the trunk fill up thing, which is like a vintage Porsche thing. I always worry about dripping a little gas in there. You get a little drip, take a little penicillin for it. Big trunk. I don't know all of what they did here. It says shaved bumpers, door handles, all that stuff. But I'm guessing maybe, I would think they replaced the old leaky, corroded gas tanks the way they had them. Look at this big polished engine there. And what I actually really love about this is no matter what you do on classic cars, the interior never fits upright. It just starts shrinking weird. They just totally did away with that. And it doesn't look anything like the original interior. This is not, and in many ways, so much better that just get rid of it. I guess that was the only thing, the only interior one. I wish they had some more pictures and some better, but the seats are a little bit more modern. None of this is the right vintage. It's actually kind of reminds me of the Lincoln Zephyr sedan when they had that out. A very upright dashboard with a very upright center console here. So I've got no problems with this. It looks like it's actually got a gray or a black wood trim to it. These door panels look like they're from a much later Jaguar or something. Probably the weirdest thing to me is when you look at it in profile like this, you can see how much this roof is lowered. Now, to me, it's lowered just probably a little too much. And I don't even know that you'd need to lower the roof. On the Series 1 and Series 2, the roof was lower than the Series 3. That was one of the big differences, and I thought it looked better. This is almost a little too low and sleek. But I bring this up because, to be honest, I'm digging this thing. And if I were going to have one of these, that isn't necessarily going to be a money pit on an ongoing basis. It's something that's totally restomodded, not even restored, because the restored ones are going to just have problems. It's like buying a brand new 74 Jaguar, and that was already going to have problems. So restored one, I think, is just going to have problems. But this one is restomodded and hot rodded. Not restomodded, hot rod. Restomod means it looks the same, but it's modern underpinnings. This is hot rodded, modern underpinnings, and totally customized. But the thing about it to me is it seems like you're not going to have issues with it. Hopefully everything from the gas tanks to the suspension and everything else is taken care of too. So that could be a reliable car, which is kind of crazy. And to me, to do all this work, if you took one of these old cars, redid the whole interior, just even redoing the paint on these old Jags. I remember even getting a quote on my Jag at a local paint shop, not Mako, but a legit decent local paint shop. They wanted $7,000. It's just so hard to do all the trim, all the little dents and dings and all that stuff. $7,000 just for paint, man. And it's not like it didn't have any paint on it. It just needed new paint. And so $7,000 just for that, not to mention you're chopping this, cutting glass, the whole new powertrain, probably suspension, everything else. When they say over $100,000 invested, I don't doubt that. Depending on how you do your labor and all that stuff, guys restoring your car aren't necessarily paying out for that, but the amount of effort that you're putting into it could definitely be that. But I also know people who have brought in cars to be restored just back to original, and they're a classic car, but not super collectible or anything. And you're still paying 70, 80, 90, 100 grand just to kind of take a car that wasn't in terrible shape, wasn't like a rusted out barn find, but a car that ran and bringing it back up to a showroom condition. That's $100,000 right there, not to mention any custom fab. And so, again, I look at this and I'm like, 38 grand. It's a lot of money, but it's less than a Toyota Sienna. And if you were looking for a really cool, unique custom car, something you will not see again, something that I thought is built on a body and a model that actually was really beautiful at the time, you would get this one. Lapeer, Michigan. I wish I could go see it. It's not super far from me, but it would take me the better part of a day to get there, film it, better part of a day to come back. If I had a Tesla with full self-driving supervised, I'd probably be more interested in doing that. But whoever the guy is that owns it, Mike up in Lapeer, I wouldn't sell it. I'd keep it. I love it. I love it. I do love it. Like I said, would I have chopped the top quite as much? Maybe not. It's done, and I think it looks awesome. And pictures on Facebook are not as high res as they should be. And so I don't know what the actual condition of any of this paint is. When I look at pictures like this, it looks absolutely flawless, but I've gone and checked out some cars and I'm like, oh dude, this is like chips, dents, like serious dings, nicks, like little bits of rust. I'm always shocked about that. Or like the original paint can be seen right at where the seals meet to the paint because they didn't quite get there, or maybe they did when they painted it, but the seals have shrunk up, so you see original paint color there. So anyway, this one looks amazing. And I'm just saying, listen, for 38 grand, what kind of custom car could you get? You could buy a nice weekender car, but you can't build a 32 Ford hot rod or basically anything for this. I think that's why it's a good deal. Now, I figure they give themselves a little wiggle room. You buy the car for 35, 33 or something like that. Now you've got this cool custom car that didn't cost you an arm and a leg. I would love it. Hey, if I had 35,000 of you that want to pitch in $1, we could all buy it and then just drive it around. Just hang out in the car, eat some Whataburger in the car, hang out, watch movies on our iPad. 35,000 of you, hit me up. Let me know. Anyway, if you're looking for a custom car, hot rod, something you don't have to work on, something unique, something a little classy, check it out. This one's on Facebook. Might be listed other places. I just came across it. And I love it. I love it. It's getting me a little hot and sweaty. And somehow my pants are getting really tight. That's it. See you later. Peter Von Panda out.